receiving. Yeah, that's what he said. Do you send another one or? Should I tell him switching off and sending another? Yeah, loop it. I guess we keep the intro looping. Don't see anything yet. Let's respond at least once. He must also reply faster. Mangwana ni mwalelepo vukenjani class vana ve Africa. Welcome to Africa. Good morning, your trusted pulse on the continent, bringing you top stories in news, business, entertainment and current affairs on DStv 285, GOtv 25, oneup2.com and NTV Africa on YouTube. Today we spotlight mass protests in Ghana over a suspended Chief Justice, outrage in Kenya after the assassination of an MP, and shocking reports of torture in Uganda linked to the president's son. We also track the Vatican's search for a new pope and ongoing Congo-Rwanda peace talks. Plus, don't miss the Botswana Report with Rorisang Mogojwe covering the latest in current affairs, sports and entertainment from Botswana. We do start this broadcast with a breaking news update from Talent Gore in Zimbabwe, as we have just learned that Zimbabwean journalist Blessed Mhlanga has been granted bail after spending 72 days in prison. My name is Ashwin Berry. That update and the rest of our top stories shortly.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
It's time for us to talk to Talent Gore as she delivers the breaking news story from Zimbabwe. Good morning, Talent. How are you?
Morning, Ashwin and Africa. Good morning. So, Alpha Media Holdings journalist Blessed Mhlanga has finally been granted bail by a High Court judge who granted him a $500 bail yesterday. Mhlanga was arrested in February and has spent 72 days in pre-trial detention. The journalist was arrested on allegations of transmitting material with the intent to incite public violence.
Okay, we seem to be having a connectivity issue there with Talent Gore. We certainly hope that she can rejoin us and continue that update on the release of Blessed Mhlanga, the Zimbabwean journalist who was jailed for 72 days without bail because he broadcast an interview. Now, it seems Talent Gore is back. Talent, could you please just start from the beginning?
Okay, that's all right. AMH journalist Blessed Mhlanga was yesterday granted a $500 bail by High Court Judge Mandaza. He was arrested in February and has spent 72 days in pre-trial detention. On the condition of his bail release, Mhlanga was ordered to report to the police every Friday and was also ordered to surrender his passport to the clerk of a court. He was also told not to interfere with the police. The journalist was arrested on allegations of transmitting material with the intent to incite public violence following a press conference addressed by former ZANU-PF Central Committee member and war veteran Blessed Geza, in which he was calling on President Emmerson Mnangagwa to resign from office, and he was also calling out corruption. So those are the allegations, and that is why Blessed Mhlanga spent 72 days in prison waiting for trial. Apparently, he was denied bail twice, and this was his latest bid for freedom, in which the High Court judge granted him a $500 bail.
Thank you very much, Talent, for delivering that breaking news update from Zimbabwe.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
Continuing with our top stories. Hundreds of protesters in Ghana, led by the opposition New Patriotic Party, have taken to the streets accusing President John Mahama of undermining democracy by suspending Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. Demonstrators dressed in red and black claim the president violated the constitution by failing to follow due process. Torkornoo, the first Chief Justice in Ghana's history to be suspended, was removed pending investigations into undisclosed allegations. Critics, including the Ghana Bar Association, argue the move attacks judicial independence. Supporters of the president say he acted within his rights. Protesters warn this could damage the country's democratic institutions. Torkornoo is expected to appear before an investigative committee. Congo and Rwanda have submitted a draft peace proposal under a U.S.-led initiative to end conflict in eastern Congo. U.S. advisor Basad Bolos announced receipt of the drafts, calling it a key step toward peace. Fighting escalated after M23 rebels backed by Rwanda captured major cities, resulting in 7,000 deaths and over 7 million displaced. The region's mineral wealth, including cobalt and gold, adds to the stakes. The proposal could unlock Western investment in mining. Talks are expected to continue, with hopes the final accord will be signed by mid-June at the White House in the presence of President Trump and the regional leaders. The effort follows earlier commitments made in Washington under U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Kenyan authorities have arrested several suspects, and this is in connection with the assassination of Kasipul Member of Parliament Charles Ongodo Were, who was fatally shot on April 30 this year near Nairobi's city mortuary roundabout. Investigators say the suspects, some linked to the Mjadin criminal gang, were identified through leads and forensic evidence. A post-mortem revealed Were was shot 5 times at close range, with a bullet piercing his heart. The killing has sparked political outrage, with ODM leaders demanding a swift investigation and threatening to sever ties with the Kenya Kwanza alliance if justice is delayed. President William Ruto has vowed a full investigation, while Interior PS Raymond Omolo urged leaders to avoid reckless commentary as detectives pursue further leads in this high-profile case. Eddie Mutwe, the chief bodyguard to Ugandan opposition leader Bobi Wine, appears to have been tortured after being illegally detained by Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, President Museveni's son and army chief. Kainerugaba admitted on social media to capturing Mutwe like a grasshopper and using him as a punching bag. Justice Minister Norbert Mao, also an opposition leader, condemned the act as a violation of judicial processes after Mutwe appeared in court weak and visibly injured. Mutwe's lawyer revealed he was electrocuted and held in a private basement by masked men. Human rights bodies have demanded his release. This detention is the latest in a pattern of state repression as Museveni prepares to run in Uganda's 2026 election after nearly 4 decades in power. Catholic cardinals entered seclusion at the Vatican ahead of the highly anticipated conclave to elect a new pope following the death of Pope Francis last month. The secretive process will begin today in the Sistine Chapel, with 133 cardinals under the age of 80 eligible to vote. With no clear front-runner, cardinals say the outcome is uncertain. The conclave is expected to take several days, requiring a 3/4 majority to elect the next pontiff. This will be the most geographically diverse conclave in church history, featuring cardinals from 70 countries. Asian cardinals reportedly intend to vote as a bloc, unlike their more fragmented European counterparts. The pre-conclave meetings concluded with a statement urging peace in conflict zones like Ukraine and the Middle East, and many cardinals emphasized the need for a pope who embodies mercy, hope, and a commitment to social justice. In the last of our top stories, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney firmly rejected any notion of Canada becoming America's 51st state, telling Trump it's not for sale ever. The leaders, despite past tensions, described their Oval Office exchange as constructive, discussing tariffs, trade, and economic relations. Carney emphasized the need for a redefined bilateral relationship following U.S. tariff hikes on Canadian exports, while Trump praised Canada and downplayed annexation talk as a wonderful marriage idea. Carney called for respect and concrete negotiations. The Canadian dollar rose after the meeting, signaling investor optimism. Both sides pledged ongoing dialogue, with Carney expected to meet Trump again at the June G7 summit. Canada remains America's second largest trading partner. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. We're going to have a look at the weather predictions before we return with the Botswana Report delivered by Rorisang Mogojwe. It's time to chat with Rorisang Mogojwe as she delivers the Botswana Report. Good morning, Dumelang, Rorisang.
Dumelang. Good morning to you, Ashwin, as well as all our viewers from across the continent. It's always good to be here on Africa Good Morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, the Botswana Democratic Party is heading into a high-stakes weekend congress. It's first as an opposition party, Rorisang, with major leadership contenders and internal cracks showing. The event could mark either the start of a revival or a deeper decline.
It is D-Day for the Botswana Democratic Party as they head out to Maun this weekend for a National Elective Congress. It is the first Congress that they will be holding as an opposition party since their crushing defeat in the 2024 general elections, which saw them be removed from power after nearly 6 decades as the ruling party and attaining only 4 seats in parliament. Now, tensions are running high due to the deep internal conflicts that the party is currently facing. There's been reports of lack of inner-party democracy, and so this Congress is seen as one that could either make or break the party. Top of the agenda is that the party will be ushering in new leadership. They will be electing a new central committee, and the outgoing committee, which is being led by Masisi, will be stepping down. Masisi will be stepping down as well. He has been holding on to the presidential seat since the party lost power, but he will finally step down from the presidential seat of the BDP. Presidential hopefuls have been campaigning, as well as their teams that have been campaigning across the country for several months now, and are currently making last-minute appeals. One of them being Mpho Balopi, who is a former cabinet minister, and he's also a former secretary general within the party, did hold a press conference this week, and he said that there is public anger over what he calls costly mistakes that the party made, and which have also led to deep factionalism within the party. So he's saying that at the Congress, these will be sorted out, as well as if they bring him into that leadership position, he will make sure that these challenges will be no more. Another presidential hopeful being Nono Fumulipi, he's also a former cabinet minister, did actually attribute the loss of the BDP power to complacency within the government while the BDP was still in power, and he says that people were complacent, and therefore that is why the BDP lost power. Now, other presidential hopefuls include the former vice president of the country, Slamba Tsogwane, as well as party activist Ame Makoba. And these are bigwigs within the party, and therefore the country or the nation, as well as the members of the BDP, are actually waiting with bated breath to see what comes out of this Congress. Like I said, the Congress is widely viewed as a test of whether the BDP can regroup and redefine its future in during the 2029 general elections, or they might stay or remain trapped in the shadow of its past.
I mean, that should be interesting indeed, Botswana, really, given that last election performance. Now, Botswana's World Relays hope seems to have taken a hit, with 3 key sprinters pulling out over confusion around bonuses.
So the trio make up 3 of the 4 athletes that helped Botswana clinch the silver medal at the Paris Olympics in the 4x400 men's relay races. They cited personal reasons, and the Botswana Athletics Association came out and confirmed that these personal reasons, actually relate to confusion over some unpaid allowances as well as qualification incentives. But the vice president of the Botswana Athletics Association's Wabona Teto explained that the 20,000 Pula qualification incentive has already been paid. It was paid for on Monday, and the athletes have received it. However, the athletes believe that they're still owed 50,000 Pula for setting an African record in Paris. Then Teto, who's the vice president, said that this was due to a misunderstanding based on a qualification incentive at the Botswana National Sports Commission's incentive policy. But that policy has since been cleared out, or rather the misunderstanding about the policy has since been cleared. He explained that the 50,000 Pula was already paid, and it was paid after the Paris Games. And the additional 100,000 Pula that the athletes referenced or said that they wanted or should have been paid applies only to Olympic records and not African ones. And so this has caused a lot of confusion regarding Botswana's ability to bring back home medals from China. However, the Botswana Athletics Association says despite this setback, they did assure the nation that Team Botswana remains ready, remains competitive, and will represent the country accordingly and fly the flag up high. And he also promised that the association is working better to communicate with athletes about incentive policies in order to avoid such similar issues in the future.
All right, Rorisang, now in the last of your stories, Miss World Botswana 2025 Anisha Gautose is off to India for the global pageant. She'll carry the nation's hopes across various challenges, of course backed by strong support at home and a project focused on health education and empowerment.
The Queen, Anisha Gautose, who is Miss World Botswana, did leave yesterday. She had an official send-off, which was very heartfelt. Members of the public did come out in large numbers to bid her farewell and good luck in her participation at the 72nd Miss World pageant. On top of the members of the public that were present was the current Miss Botswana, that is Ruth Thomas, as well as her princesses, some stakeholders, as well as the members of the Miss Botswana organization. You know, how Tusi did express gratitude for the overwhelming love and support that she has received and pledged to carry the flag, the country's flag, with pride. She did promise that she will do her best and hopefully come back as a title holder, you know, following in the footsteps of other queens before her. Now, she's expected to compete in a series of competitions or events, including the Beauty with Purpose, Talent, Sports, Top Model, and head-to-head challenges, all of which will contribute to her final score. You know, the Miss Botswana organizers have called on members of the public to not only follow her journey online, but also to participate by voting and by voting for her in order to increase her score. The Miss World final is expected, as we know, to bring together more than 100 contestants from across the globe, and Gauthusi hopes to bring back the crown, and supporters are being encouraged to follow her journey online as well as to participate in all the voting platforms that can help her secure a spot in the top rankings. And of course, we wish her the best of luck.
Report. We're going to have a look at the economic indicators before we return with economic news.
Irongomed is a leading distributor, working in partnership with NewMed and WestMed to meet the comprehensive needs of the Namibian healthcare sector. As a partner pursuing sustainable global healthcare, we offer industry-leading medical solutions through our key focus areas, which include pharmaceuticals, orthopedics, ophthalmology, surgical devices and capital equipment, as well as a well-established scientific laboratory division. In healthcare, Irongomed is committed to making a difference. What about you?
MTN South Africa is launching a large-scale digital inclusion effort, offering 1.2 million prepaid users 4G smartphones for just 99 Rand as the country prepares to retire outdated 2G and 3G networks by 2027. The rollout aimed at low-income households will unfold in 3 phases from this month through to 2026. In the first phase, 5,000 users in Gauteng will receive entry-level devices, followed by over 130,000 nationwide and eventually more than 1.1 million across the country. MTN will absorb operational costs and offer devices that usually retail between 740 and 1,100 Rand. While the initiative targets accessibility, critics caution that those in remote areas may still be left behind due to limited resources to participate in the upgrade. That has been our economic news story, and those have been our stories on Africa. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on DStv 285, GOtv 25, 1up2.com, and Network Media Hub on YouTube. From me, Ashwin Bedi, and the Africa Good Morning team, Suraja Ranaka.